Once upon a time, on a small island in the Caribbean, a little girl named Robyn Rihanna Fenty dreamed of a life far beyond the shores of her home. Life around her was not always easy. Yes, the streets of Barbados were vibrant, filled with laughter, with the rhythms of calypso and reggae pouring out of every corner. From the outside it looked like a paradise. But behind closed doors it was different. Inside her home there was noise, struggle, and pain. Her father battled addiction, one that shook the entire family. Some days it meant arguments echoing through the walls, doors slamming, voices raised in anger. Other days it meant silence, a heavy silence, filled with tension and uncertainty. Yet in the midst of this chaos, she found her sanctuary, singing. Every time she closed her bedroom door, something changed. The shouting, the tension, the fear stayed on the other side of the wall. Inside that small space she could breathe. She could let her voice rise. At first soft, almost a whisper, then louder, stronger, until her room transformed into a world of its own. The turmoil outside didn't disappear, but inside those melodies it couldn't reach her. Her songs weren't just notes. They were prayers. They were promises to herself. Each lyric, each rhythm carried hope. Hope that one day life would be different. Music was more than a hobby. It was survival. It was the one thing that never left her, the one thing she could trust. When she walked through her neighborhood, she carried it with her. Neighbors would see her humming to herself, sometimes singing full songs as if the streets were her stage. At school, she performed in front of classmates, nervous at first but always amazed at how her voice could silence a crowd, and in those moments she felt something she rarely felt at home: freedom. Music gave her courage. It made her believe she mattered. It gave her the strength to imagine a life beyond the struggles that weighed her down. It became her shield against doubt, her weapon against fear, her constant companion when the world seemed heavy and unkind. By the age of 15, Rihanna's courage pushed her toward a life-changing decision. Word spread that music producers were visiting Barbados, an incredibly rare opportunity for any young singer on the island. For most, it was just a distant dream. But for her, it was the chance she had been waiting for, the chance to turn the pain she carried into purpose. When she stepped into that audition room, her heart was racing. The producers had seen hundreds of hopefuls, but Rihanna refused to let fear silence her. She stood tall, took a deep breath, and began to sing. It wasn't just notes and melodies that filled the air, it was her story. Every word carried the weight of sleepless nights, every note echoed her longing for freedom, and every rise in her voice revealed the strength she had built from struggle. She poured out not just her talent, but her heart, her soul, her entire being. And in that moment she amazed them. Her voice was raw yet powerful, her presence impossible to ignore. What struck them wasn't only her natural gift. It was the fire behind it. They could see the determination of a girl who refused to give up, the passion of someone who needed music as much as she needed air, and the resilience of a young woman who had turned hardship into fuel. That audition was more than a performance. It was a declaration. She was ready. Ready to step beyond the walls of her small island. Ready to chase the life she had always dreamed of. Ready to rise. Soon after that audition, Rihanna faced the biggest decision of her young life. At just 16, she chose to leave behind everything she had ever known. Her home, her friends, even the comfort of her mother's embrace. The turquoise waters and sunlit streets of Barbados that had shaped her childhood became memories as she stepped onto a plane bound for America, a land she had never set foot on. A land filled with uncertainty but also possibility. It wasn't an easy choice. Barbados was safe, familiar, and full of love. But she knew that if she wanted her voice to be heard beyond her island, she had to take the risk. Chasing her dream meant walking away from the comfort of what was, and stepping into the unknown of what could be. The journey was not easy. Success did not come overnight. For every door she knocked on, another one slammed shut. For every song she sang, rejection seemed to echo louder than applause. Some days, the silence after an audition felt heavier than words of criticism. The weight of doubt pressed down on her. Questions haunted her. Was her dream too big? Was she strong enough? Could she really make it in a world so much larger than she had ever known? There were nights when the loneliness of being far from home burned deep. Moments when tears fell quietly, and she wondered if she had made a mistake. Many times she stood at the edge of giving up. Yet, in those fragile moments she refused. She held on to the fire inside her. The belief that her voice, her music, and her vision were worth fighting for. And that truth would not let her quit. Then, in 2005, her persistence paid off. She released her debut single, Pon de Replay. From the very first beat, the world noticed. Radio stations played it endlessly. Fans danced to its infectious rhythm. Her voice and energy captivated hearts everywhere. A star was born. A young girl from Barbados had turned struggle into opportunity, fear into courage, dreams into reality. But Rihanna's story didn't end with music. For many artists, fame and fortune on stage would have been enough. But not for her. Deep down, she wanted more than just the spotlight. She wanted freedom, ownership, and a legacy that would outlive the sound of her last song. She dreamed of building something that could change lives, something that would stand as proof that she was more than just a voice. As her career grew, so did her vision. She reinvented herself, pushing boundaries with bold music that challenged norms, fashion statements that broke rules, and an unapologetic confidence that inspired millions. She was no longer just an entertainer, she became a cultural force. To her fans, she wasn't simply Rihanna the superstar. She was Rihanna the symbol of resilience, strength, and self-belief. Then came her boldest move yet, Fenty Beauty. In 2017, she launched her own cosmetics brand. But this wasn't just another celebrity product line. Rihanna had seen from her own experience how the beauty industry ignored so many people. Those whose skin tones were rarely represented, those who felt invisible. She wanted to change that. She wanted every person, no matter their shade, to feel seen, valued, and beautiful. Fenty Beauty broke barriers. With 40 foundation shades at launch, something unheard of at the time, it became a movement, not just a brand. Women and men across the globe finally found products that matched their skin. For many, it was the first time they felt included in the world of beauty. The response was explosive. Stores sold out within days. Social media lit up with stories of people celebrating a brand that had finally recognized them. Fenty Beauty didn't just sell makeup, it sold belonging. It redefined what beauty meant. And the impact was massive. Within a few short years, Fenty Beauty grew into a multi-billion-dollar empire. It wasn't just a business win, it was a cultural shift. Rihanna, the girl from Barbados who once sang to escape her struggles, had become the richest female musician in the world, with a net worth surpassing $1 billion. From Barbados to billionaire, from humble beginnings to global icon, her story is more than fame or fortune. It's a mirror for anyone with a dream. You may not be a singer, or plan to start a beauty empire. But like her, you have a dream that is uniquely yours, whether it's building a business, graduating from school, or breaking free from life's struggles. Rihanna's journey teaches us powerful lessons. Don't let where you start decide where you finish. Turn your pain into power. Be bold enough to create something the world has never seen. And when people doubt you, keep going. Once upon a time, a young girl from a small island dared to believe in something bigger. And today, her name echoes across the globe as one of the most successful women alive. If she could rise from hardship to billionaire success, so can you. But here's the truth, success doesn't happen overnight. It begins the moment you take your first step, the moment you refuse to quit, the moment you choose to believe your dreams are worth fighting for. So I'll ask you, what's your first step? What can you do today that your future self will thank you for? Because one day, your story could inspire millions too. And it all begins here. It begins now. It begins with you. If this story inspired you, if it reminded you that no dream is too big, no struggle too heavy, and no beginning too small, then don't just walk away. Subscribe to this channel. Because here we share more stories like this, stories of resilience, courage, and unstoppable determination that will keep you motivated on your own journey.